The history of Seven Deadly Sins is a fascinating one, having started as a one-shot in 2011 before later exploding into a popular anime within the weekly shonen magazine. It's a huge narrative built on the foundation of core human tendencies that can lead to suffering and disconnection: pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, lust, and gluttony. For years, there has been a fatigue of sorts when it comes to anime IP-based gacha games. Take the same story that we've already experienced through an anime or manga and turn that into a game with a slight alteration to the source material while lacking substance overall. But what if I said that this game did the unexpected by delivering a completely original story that continues the original storyline 15 years into the future? Well, the result of that is a day one peak of 65,000 players who have a vested interest in a brand new anime game. And in today's sponsored video, I'm going to be telling you all about it so that you can decide if it's the game for you. With that said, I do want to preface this video. This is not an official game review from me, as I always avoid taking sponsorships for game reviews to remain genuine. And instead, this video will be focused on the core story, gameplay mechanics, and other features of the game that may give you a reason to get involved. So with all that being said, my name is Braxophone, but you can call me Brax, and let's talk about Seven Deadly Sins Origin. The story of Seven Deadly Sins Origin is one that the player base looks upon very critically, which makes sense considering how many people picked the game up after being fans of the anime. It follows Tristan, the son of Meliodas and Elizabeth, as well as Tiora, the daughter of the king and Diane. This shift in the story is somewhat refreshing, as we are not only still using familiar characters linked to the characters that you may already have fallen in love with, but also because there's a bit of a twist. Tristan and Tiora stumble across a strange artifact by the name of the Book of Stars that contains the ability to alter space and time. This results in a ton of anomalies within their world. Anomalies such as the original cast appearing in their early forms from the original anime, but from the past with no knowledge of the events that brought them to the future. If you're thinking that this is a convenient plot to sell you the greatest hits of the Seven Deadly Sins storyline, you'd be 100% correct. These anomalies are forcing these original characters and enemies they faced into a current day timeline. As a player, you aren't just reliving the past, but you're dealing with the consequences of the past invading the present, and how it affects some of the people who didn't experience their past selves. I tend to enjoy things like if stories, where you would get to see what would happen to characters if they were placed into different circumstances, and this story is sort of that. You'll encounter younger versions of the Seven Deadly Sins before their prime. Without spoiling it for you, it creates an interesting dynamic when the children of some of these characters meet their parents' younger selves. I don't want to go too much further into the story though, since I do want to leave that for you to experience, so let's talk about the gameplay next. There's a growing trend in the high-budget gacha market where the gacha elements are becoming more and more of a secondary monetary function on top of what could be seen as a normal game. Seven Deadly Sins Origin leans into this heavily by prioritizing exploration and meaningful progression of simple gameplay loops gated by stamina. Don't get me wrong, this game does utilize a stamina-like system for some of the dungeons, and a lot of the progression will require a lot of grind to truly reward the players. To complement this though, the map of the game is huge, especially for a title launch, giving you many options for your gameplay loop. Let's take the crafting system as an example. You'll explore to find materials, use those materials to enhance your workbench, and use that workbench to obtain some of the most powerful gear and weapons in the game. There's a real full crafting system that doesn't require gacha to obtain the highest rarity gear, or at least it appears that way from my current level of progression through the game and the fact that there is no dedicated weapon banner. With 5 acts within the story available at launch, alongside a ton of side quests that not only add to the world building and stakes within the story, although intimidating at first, the sheer volume gives you the feeling that the developers wanted to cook up a full experience rather than just a 10-minute daily loop, but we'll see how this is after 2 or 3 months. I also feel the need to mention that you'll sometimes come across other players sprinting around cities and turning in quests throughout your time in the game, giving the game an MMO-like feel and a sense of community. And for those who enjoy big worlds to explore with plenty of combat, I was pleased to find that Seven Deadly Sins Origin has a very fast and fun combat system that emphasizes team synergy. I'm still figuring it all out, but here's what I understand so far about the combat system. You'll manage a party of 4 characters while taking advantage of a set of character switching mechanics that also has the standard elemental matching systems that you may already be familiar with. However, you'll find that after a specific point, combat can actually get a bit difficult. It's also worth noting that each character has various classes that contain different weapons and sometimes different elements as well. This makes even the characters you start with a bit more viable, as you can build a full elemental focused team around one element or around specific interactions with other elements. There's a level of skill expression in this title while also somewhat catering to the button mash crowd as well with the world level system. I know the world level system isn't really new to gacha games, but this game has quite the difficulty increase once you start increasing your world level, making the enemies require a bit more synergistic compatibility to quickly defeat them. I'm actually enjoying the combat a lot, and overall it does feel familiar. The crafting system in Origin is perhaps the most hardcore feature within the game. To put it simply, it's grindy as hell, but it avoids following the traditions of previous gacha games that I've played, as your progression is mainly tied to your workbench. You'll use this workbench to not only craft basic items like potions and such, but also gear and weapons. And I'm not talking about basic gear and weapons, I'm talking purple and gold tier rarity weapons. You'll gather and mine various materials throughout the world with no stamina restrictions for doing so. While that removes the need to gacha for the strongest weapons, it also removes the anxiety of having a short time frame to obtain the currency needed for such weapons. You'll spend time upgrading your workbench by locating where to grind for or purchase items required for the needed upgrades throughout the game without any real-world purchases being made. This rewards your time spent and encourages you to spend more time in the world they built instead of rewarding those who just get lucky. So at least there's some level of merit, and you'll end up seeing the work players put in since there's actually co-op features. Given that I'm still somewhat early in the game and learning more of the systems for progression, and the fact that I don't have any friends, I haven't had the opportunity to play co-op with anyone. However, I recently learned that co-op is available with up to 5 players in a world with shared progression and loot. You're supposedly able to play the entirety of the story with your friends, including the boss fights. The open world, dungeons, and bosses are all available to your party, and you retain the ability to switch between your own individual teams of 4 characters. Each of the players will receive their own loot instead of one person having the ability to take good loot from the other players. This makes the game entirely explorable and fun to experience with your friends, allowing you all to progress further without many obstacles. Unfortunately, I have yet to experience any of this for myself as of this video, but I figured it was worth mentioning. And speaking of worth mentioning, I should probably tell you about the gacha system too. You should know that it has a 50-50 system with a guarantee if you lose the first 50-50. I'll let you decide if you like it or not, since I find it to be a point of contention as to whether or not gacha players actually prefer it. Overall, I find 7 Deadly Sins Origin to be an interesting gacha experience. It provides a story that watchers or readers of the original 7 Deadly Sins series will be able to find themselves more immersed in, while also having the depth of an open world system with cooperative play and fun combat. It all comes together to feel quite familiar to gacha players who've been around for a while, but it features new experiences that are engaging for those looking for something new. So if you're interested in playing, you can actually download it right now for free because it released just a few days ago. And if you are going to try it, you might as well click the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.